Okay, so today we're diving into exponential thinking as an author. And I know this is something a lot of you are interested in figuring out, like, how can we get our books to really take off?
Yeah, it's a hot topic, and for good reason, too.
Right. It's kind of like, that old story about the grains of rice on a chessboard?
Oh, yeah.
One grain on the first square, then two, then four. Like, it starts small,
Doubles each time.
but by the end, you have, like, way more rice than you can even
Yeah,
imagine.
you can't even fathom it.
So how do we do that with a book, you know?
That's the million-dollar question, right? How do we get that kind of exponential growth with something like a novel?
Exactly, because when I think of exponential growth, I'm thinking Silicon Valley, you know?
Tech startups.
Yeah, apps, things that go viral,
The digital world definitely moves at an exponential pace.
but books seem so like one sale at a time,
Mm.
you know?
It's like grounded in that individual purchase, yeah.
Yeah. So how do we even get that doubling effect that we're talking about?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. It's not just about individual sales anymore. The digital age has completely changed how we can reach readers.
So you saying it's more about like reaching these big groups all at once?
It can be, yeah. Think about the power of online platforms and social media. It's like a ripple effect.
Okay, so more like a chain reaction than just a straight line.
Exactly. And that's where the concept of exponential growth really comes in.
But I got to be honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on how this actually works with book sales.
Sure, no problem. Let's break it down. Exponential growth isn't just about things increasing, it's about them increasing at an accelerating rate.
Okay, so it's not just like adding the same number each time.
Nope. Think of it like this: 2, 4, 8, 16. With each step, the jump gets bigger and bigger.
Ah, I see. So the growth itself is growing.
You got it.
Okay, but in the book world, what would be that like doubling force?
Well, technology plays a huge role. Think about online platforms and all the tools we have for marketing and promotion. These can spread the word about your book to a way bigger audience than you could ever reach on your own.
So like instead of me just telling my friends and family about it.
Exactly. You're tapping into these networks and platforms that can amplify your message.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm also hearing you say it's not just about technology.
Right. It's also about this concept of network effects.
Network effects.
Have you ever thought about like how a social media platform works? The more people use it, the more valuable it becomes for everyone because there are more connections to be made.
Right, more people to connect with?
Same thing with your book. The more readers you have, the more likely they are to recommend it to others.
Oh, so it's like building this buzz, a community around your book.
Exactly. Each new reader becomes a potential advocate, sparking more sales organically.
Okay, that's starting to click for me.
Well-
But honestly, it still feels a little theoretical, you know? Like, how do I actually make this happen for my novel?
Well, one powerful example is harnessing the power of artificial intelligence. AI might sound futuristic.
AI for selling books. I mean, is that even a thing?
Oh, it's definitely a thing, and it's only going to get bigger. AI algorithms are amazing at analyzing data and spotting patterns, so they can help you target the right readers for your book.
So instead of just like throwing it out there and hoping for the best.
Exactly. You're using data to be more strategic about who you're reaching.
Wow. So there's like a science to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember AI is a tool. You still need to use it strategically and ethically.
Right. I wouldn't want my book marketing to feel like robotic or impersonal. You know?
I hear ya. Authenticity is still key. We'll definitely dive into that more later.
Okay.
But for now, just know that AI can be a powerful ally in this journey toward exponential growth.
Okay. I'm definitely intrigued by this whole AI thing. But before we get too deep into the tech side of things, I'm also curious about the long game. You know, building a career as an author.
Yeah, that's a great point. We
Right.
can't forget about the long-term vision.
So how does that tie into this idea of exponential growth?
That's what we're going to explore next. So we were talking about the long game, right? That long-term vision for building a career as an author.
Yeah, I mean, exponential growth sounds great, but building a following takes time, you know?
It absolutely does. It's
Yeah.
not an overnight thing.
So how does that fit with this idea of like rapid expansion?
Think of it like planting a garden. You nurture the soil, you plant the seeds, and you tend to them carefully.
Okay, I'm following.
It takes time for those seeds to sprout and grow into a flourishing garden. But once they do, the results are well worth the effort.
So I'm planting the seeds with my book, but what's the like gardening part that leads to this exponential growth?
Building a strong author platform, that's a key part of this process.
Author platform, so like my website, social media, that kind of thing?
Exactly. It's all about showcasing your expertise, connecting with readers on a personal level, and creating a community around your work.
So it's not just about the book itself. It's about me as an author.
Yes. Your platform becomes this magnet attracting readers who resonate with your voice, your genre, your style.
So people who would actually like my book.
Exactly. And this is where technology can really help us out.
Okay, how so?
Think about tools like email marketing software. You can nurture those relationships with readers, keep them engaged, and even automate some of the process.
That sounds helpful because I feel like I'm always drowning in emails.
Right. But when you use them strategically, they can actually save you time and effort.
Okay, so instead of feeling overwhelmed by the tech, I can actually use it to my advantage.
Absolutely. These tools can free you up to focus on what you do best, writing.
That's what I like to hear.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, isn't it all about that human connection?
100%. Technology is just a tool. It's the human connection that truly matters.
Right. It's about connecting with people, not just bombarding them with sales pitches.
Exactly. Authenticity is key. Share your journey as an author, engage in conversations, respond to comments, let readers see the person behind the book.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about building trust, like you would with any relationship.
You got it.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to start building my platform.
Mm.
Where do I even begin?
Mm.
There are so many options out there. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's kind of overwhelming.
It can definitely feel that way. That's why it's so important to understand your target audience.
A target audience. So like, who am I actually trying to reach with my book?
Exactly. Who are the readers most likely to enjoy your book? Where do they hang out online? What kind of content do they engage with?
So it's about being strategic, not just trying to be everywhere at once.
You got it. Focus your energy where it's most effective. For example, if you write YA fantasy platforms like TikTok or Instagram where visual storytelling thrives, might be more effective than, say, LinkedIn.
Oh, that's interesting. So it really depends on the genre.
It definitely plays a role.
Right.
But even within a platform, there's so many different strategies, ads, organic posts, collaborations.
All right, so many options.
Exactly. And honestly, the best approach is often to experiment.
Experiment, like just try things out and see what sticks.
The digital landscape is always changing. What works today might not work tomorrow. So be adaptable, try new things, analyze your results, and adjust your strategy as needed.
So it's not about finding this like perfect formula. It's more about being willing to adapt and learn as I go.
You hit the nail on the head. That's the beauty of the digital age.
Yeah.
You can track your results, see what's working, and refine your approach in real time.
That does take some of the pressure off knowing I can adjust course along the way, but honestly still feels a little daunting.
I hear you. It's like, I need to become a marketing expert on top of being a writer.
Exactly.
And you know what? You don't have to do it all alone.
Oh, that's good to know.
There are so many amazing resources available for authors today. Online courses, author communities, marketing consultants who specialize in helping writers navigate this digital world.
So it's more like assembling a team. Finding people to help me along the way.
Think of it like putting together a crew for a sailing expedition. You have your navigators, your sailmakers, your cooks, each with their unique skills and expertise.
I love that analogy.
You, as the captain, guide the ship, but you rely on your crew to navigate the waters and reach your destination.
Okay, that makes me feel way less overwhelmed. But with all this talk about strategy and technology, are we losing sight of the joy of writing?
That's a really important point. We don't want to get so caught up in the numbers that we forget why we started writing in the first place.
Exactly. It's about sharing stories, connecting with readers, expressing ourselves creatively.
And you know what? Those are the very things that can fuel exponential growth.
Right, really.
Absolutely. When you're passionate about your work, when your stories resonate with readers on a deep level, that's when the magic happens.
So it's not about sacrificing the art for the sake of growth.
Not at all. The two can go hand in hand. The more authentic you are, the more you pour your heart into your writing, the more likely you are to attract those readers who truly connect with your unique voice and vision.
That's so reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding that balance between the creative process and the strategic approach.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the process, embrace the challenges, and celebrate those small victories along the way.
I love it, celebrating the small victories. It's so easy to get caught up in the big picture.
But those little wins can keep you going, keep you motivated.
They can definitely add up to something bigger.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important piece of the puzzle.
Oh, what's that?
This idea of exponential growth. It's not just about individual effort, it's also about community. Community is so important, especially when you're a self-published author.
Right, because you can feel pretty lonely sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where finding your tribe, those other writers who get it, makes all the difference.
So we're talking about more than just like networking events and conferences.
It's deeper than that. It's about building genuine relationships, supporting each other's work, celebrating each other's successes.
So it's like a support system, but also a way to expand your reach.
Exactly, because when authors support each other, they amplify each other's voices.
Like that whole rising tide lifts all boats thing.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key ingredient in all of this generosity.
Generosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you give freely your knowledge, your time, your support for other authors, it creates this ripple effect that often comes back to you in amazing ways.
So it's not just about promoting my own book.
Mm.
It's about being part of something bigger.
Exactly. Success isn't a finite pie. There's room for everyone to thrive. And by supporting each other, we create this more vibrant and abundant creative ecosystem.
I love that. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it means to be a successful author in this digital age.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's not just about writing a great book. It's about embracing this exponential mindset, building connections, and approaching this whole journey with generosity and a willingness to learn and grow.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's actually pretty exciting.
It is. There's so much potential out there.
Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep writing, keep dreaming, and keep believing in the power of exponential growth.